This is how the ancient Egyptian pyramids were built. It's not at all like anybody thinks. If you look at speculation on how the pyramids were built, it always involves these dirt ramps that go up at an angle and go around the pyramids. And then they push these stones up this dirt ramp. Well, why would they push these stones up this dirt ramp? Because they didn't have the wheel. Well, that's nonsense. It takes a civilization to build a pyramid. You don't have people coming out of caves, Neanderthals, hunting mastodons and dinosaurs and saying, let's build a pyramid. No, it takes a civilization to build a pyramid. Civilizations mean people living in cities. People living in cities had the wheel. They couldn't lift stones up to the roof of their dwellings or their administrative buildings or religious buildings with ramps. You think that's all they did was put ramps up to push stones up to get a roofing material on top or a second floor? They had the wheel and the mechanical advantage of the wheel for lifting. So it's total nonsense that the Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, used ramps to push stones to build the pyramids. And how do I know this? Because I think I'm King Tut, or the recreation of King Tut. Here's a video I made 3 years ago on YouTube. I was going through an old photo album and I came across my picture from the altar boy days back in the early 50s. I was probably about 10 or 11 here, hard to guess. I kind of thought, hey, don't I kind of look like Pharaoh Tutankhamun? I'm just going to give a very rough idea of how the pyramids were built. See, great engineers just have an idea of how to accomplish something. And then they hand it down to subordinate engineers to work out the details. And those subordinate engineers hand it down to lower level engineers to even work out more fine details. But the grand builder, the grand master, comes up with the idea. Without that seed idea, it cannot be built. It cannot be made. So if you have good subordinate engineers, all you have to do is give them the idea of how to do it, and they will execute it. But why are they subordinate engineers? Because they don't have the genius to come up with the idea in the first place. That's where the master builder comes in, just throwing out that one idea that the subordinates can work with and build with. This is the grand master builder's idea of how to build the pyramids without those stupid ramps. This is the base of the pyramid. You're looking down on it like a drone's eye view or from a satellite. This is the base of the pyramid. This is the grand master idea for building the pyramids. There is a gap in the base of the pyramid. This is one course. This is all stone, 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 stone. This is the ground, the base of the pyramid. This is the second part of the grand master idea for building the pyramid, which this is how the pyramids were built. Now we're at ground level. It's like you're standing looking
at the first course of stone at the pyramid. This is the ground. This is the first course of stone. The Grand Master idea. In that trench I showed you, this is a cart with wheels that is rolled in to that gap. This is one of the stones to be lifted for the second course. Goes on top. Here are the ropes holding it. They go up here. There is a pulley right here. Now they say, no, the Egyptians didn't have the wheel. It's ridiculous. Of course they had the wheel. And they used it. A pulley. A rope came down here. Here, workers stood on top of the first course and pulled this rope, lifting this stone up, and then other workers pushed the stone on top of the first course. That is the great Grand Master idea for building the pyramid. Now this is the second course of stone. Here's the ground again. This is the first course of stone. This is the lifter. Now this is the second course of stone. This is the stone right here. Through this pulley, it is lifted up and then pushed out on top of this second course of stone. Drop down, another stone comes in, lifted up, moved out on top here. And then course after course is lifted up on top to make the pyramid. Now, this is the other ingenious invention of the master builder. This lifting elevator, they create an extension of the elevator as they go up by the course. Exactly what they do in skyscrapers with the crane. They build a crane one section at a time and lift it up higher and higher. Well, that's what the ancient Egyptians did. They took this structure and they kept extending it up until the top of the pyramid, and then lifting this here. You say, oh, well, they're going to get tired pulling on this. Well, no, you have a fresh crew waiting to continue the pulling while the other people rest. This is what the pyramid now looks like, looking down like from a drone or a satellite. It's finished, except to have the gap here. This is the elevator. This is the stone in the center of the elevator. It's now complete. But now they have to fill this gap in. This is the final idea of the great master builder of the pyramids. Still have the gap. We're looking down on the pyramid like from a drone. You still have this gap that has to be filled in. Here is the stone lifting trolley. That's the stone right there. They back up the trolley, and now they start filling in this gap, and higher and higher and higher and higher till they get to the top. Then they back the trolley up some more, fill in, fill in, fill in until the top, back the trolley up some more, fill in, fill in, fill in to the top until the trolley is completely exited the gap and the gap exists no more. You have a complete pyramid without any ramps. Well, people might say, well, what about this problem? And what about that problem? And how are you going to overcome this obstacle? And what about that? That's why you have sub-engineers to work out those details. That's what they get the big drachma for.